What if the items you need most in a crisis were suddenly illegal? It might sound far-fetched, but trust me, out in the wild, things can change faster than a storm in the Himalayas. Being prepared means staying ahead of the curve. Here's what you need to know. Today, we're diving into prepping items that might become restricted and how to prepare responsibly. Remember, proper preparation prevents poor performance, and in a real survival situation, there are no second chances. So, whether you're a seasoned prepper or just starting out, this video is your ultimate guide to staying ahead of the game. Let's get to it. Out in the wilderness, I've drank from more puddles and streams than I can count, but I always make sure that water is purified, and for good reason. Contaminated water can take you down faster than a hungry predator. We're talking debilitating sickness, dehydration, even death. Not a good way to go. Now, you might think a little thing like water filtration wouldn't cause a stir, but the truth is, regulations around these systems are tightening up. Governments are getting worried about unregulated systems, worried they won't be up to snuff. And listen, I get it, clean water is essential. You don't want people getting sick. But here's the thing, those regulations could make it harder for you to get your hands on a reliable water filter when you need it most. Imagine a major disaster, supply chains are down, stores are empty, and you can't even rely on your trusty filter because it's suddenly on the wrong side of the law. That's why you need to be proactive. Get yourself a high-quality water filtration system now while you still can. Look for a system with multiple stages of filtration, something that can handle bacteria, viruses, even heavy metals. And don't forget about replacement filters. Having a stockpile of those is just as important as the filter itself. Your life could depend on it. Now, let's talk about personal safety. Out in the wild, I rely on my instincts and my wits to stay out of trouble, but I also know that sometimes things can get hairy, no matter how prepared you are. That's why I always carry a few essential self-defense tools. And no, I'm not talking about fashioning a spear out of a stick and some string, though that's a good skill to have. We're talking about things like pepper spray, personal alarms, and yes, even a good sturdy multi-tool. These are tools that can give you an edge, buy you precious time to escape a dangerous situation. But here's the kicker. The laws around these items are about as clear as mud, changing from state to state, country to country. What's legal in one place might get you in hot water in another, so what's a prepper to do? Knowledge is power, my friends. Find out what's legal in your area, what the restrictions are, and what the penalties are for carrying restricted items. And remember, laws can change, so it's important to stay up to date. Check your local laws regularly, especially if you're planning on traveling with your gear. I'd rather have the tools and not need them than need them and not have them. So get yourself informed, get yourself prepared, and stay safe out there. We've all been there, stuck in the grocery store line, wondering why we didn't grab that extra bag of chips. But imagine this. A natural disaster strikes, supply chains crumble, and those grocery store shelves are bare. Suddenly, that extra bag of chips doesn't seem so silly, does it? That's where long-lasting food supplies come in. We're talking MREs, freeze-dried meals, the kind of stuff that can survive in the back of your pantry for years without going bad. These aren't your gourmet meals, mind you, but they're packed with calories and nutrients to keep you going when you need it most. Think about it, governments are already cracking down on all sorts of things in the name of safety and security. Who's to say they won't start regulating long-lasting food supplies, especially in times of crisis? So, what's the solution? Build yourself a pantry that can withstand a siege? Stock up on those MREs, those freeze-dried meals, those cans of beans that seem to last forever? Remember, a well-stocked pantry is like money in the bank when disaster strikes. It gives you peace of mind knowing that you and your loved ones won't go hungry no matter what the world throws your way. Out in the wild, a sprained ankle can be more than just an inconvenience. It can be a matter of life and death. That's why I never leave camp without a well-stocked medical kit. And trust me, I've seen my fair share of scrapes, cuts and bruises. But here in the civilized world, we often take our access to healthcare for granted. We pop a pill for a headache, visit the doctor for a checkup, never really thinking about what we'd do if those options were suddenly off the table. But the reality is access to medical care is becoming increasingly difficult, even in normal times. And in a crisis situation, well, let's just say you don't want to be relying on a system that's already stretched thin. That's why it's more important than ever to take control of your own health and well-being, and that starts with building a comprehensive medical kit, one that can handle everything from minor cuts and scrapes to more serious injuries and illnesses. Now, I'm not talking about just throwing a few band-aids and some antiseptic wipes in a bag and calling it a day. We're talking about a serious medical kit. One that includes things like gauze, bandages, sutures, pain relievers, antibiotics, the works. Access to certain medical supplies, especially antibiotics, is becoming increasingly regulated. That's why it's crucial to talk to your doctor about building a comprehensive medical kit. They can advise you on what supplies you need, how to use them safely and effectively, and even write you prescriptions for essential medications. Remember, your health is your responsibility, especially in a crisis. We rely on electricity for just about everything these days. Lights, heating, cooking, communication, you name it, it runs on electricity. But what happens when the grid goes down? Suddenly, we're thrust back into the dark ages, literally. That's why having a reliable power source is essential for any prepper. No, I'm not talking about hoarding batteries, though having a good supply is never a bad idea. I'm talking about something more substantial. Something that can power your essential appliances and keep you comfortable, even in a prolonged blackout. Now you've got a couple of options here. Solar generators are becoming increasingly popular, and for good reason. They're quiet, they're eco-friendly, and they can provide a steady stream of power as long as the sun's shining, but they can also be expensive, and they're not always the most powerful option out there. If you're looking for something with a bit more oomph, a gas-powered generator might be a better bet. They're more affordable, they pack a bigger punch, and they can run on a variety of fuels. But here's the catch. Gas-powered generators are noisy. They produce fumes, and they're not exactly environmentally friendly. So do your research, weigh your options, and invest in a power source that will keep you going when the lights go out. We've covered a lot of ground today, from water filtration to self-defense, from food security to medical preparedness, and finally to the importance of having a reliable power source. These are just a few of the essential prepping items that could make all the difference in a crisis. Remember, these items aren't about being paranoid or living in fear. They're about taking responsibility for your own safety and well-being, about being prepared for whatever life throws your way. Because out in the wild, as in life, the unexpected can happen at any time. So don't wait until it's too late. Get prepared now while you still can. Because when it comes to survival, there are no second chances. What prepping items are on your must-have list? Let us know in the comments and share this video with your fellow preppers. These items could be lifesavers. Don't risk being unprepared.